The slow hum of an old steamship drifting across open water has a way of settling your thoughts, and tonight, I want you to feel that same calm, like gentle waves brushing against your mind as you soften into rest, with the warmth of an imagined campfire glowing quietly beside you. You're safe here, wrapped in a simple story from history that moves slowly enough to help your breathing deepen and your eyes grow heavy. Before we drift any further, from which country are you listening tonight, and what time is it there right now? I'm always curious. And before we continue, if you enjoy peaceful historical stories told like this, you're welcome to tap like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It truly supports this small channel in a meaningful way. Now, let's step softly into the quiet beginning of a day aboard an early steamship, where the world feels smaller and the ocean feels wide. Imagine the ship resting gently on calm water long before sunrise. Lantern light glows faintly along the wooden hallway, just enough to soften the shadows. The air carries a mild chill, the kind that invites you to pull your blanket a little closer as we explore this serene moment together. The crew stirs slowly, not with the urgency you might imagine from life at sea, but with a practiced, peaceful rhythm. Their footsteps are controlled, steady, careful not to disturb the quiet around them. The ship hums beneath them, the early steam engines vibrating with a warmth provided by the will of the Almighty, who allows machinery to function and bring benefit through human hands. Some crew members pause at the narrow windows to glance at the dark horizon. The sea is almost still, just faint ripples brushing the hull. This moment before dawn always feels special, an untouched pocket of time where the world is dim and soft, and everything moves at half its usual pace. A gentle reminder, before we continue, you're doing great. It's okay to relax your shoulders, loosen your jaw, and let your breathing slow as the story unfolds. In the engine room, the early warmth thickens the air. The machinery glows with a low orange light, made possible through the natural laws that the Almighty allows to function. The engineers move with focus, listening to the rhythm of the pistons and the quiet metallic exhale of steam. They do not rush, they simply observe, adjust, and let the ship wake up gradually. Back on the deck, the morning breeze moves lightly across the wooden planks. The scent of seawater drifts upward, mixing with the faint smell of heated metal rising from below. Rope coils rest neatly along the sides, prepared from the day before. Everything has its place, and everything has a purpose. The crew members step into their duties with calm awareness. One checks the railing, running a hand along the smooth wood to make sure it's secure. Another inspects the lifeboats, ensuring they are tied just right. These actions are small but essential, and they form a routine that keeps the ship steady and dependable. If your mind begins to wander, that's perfectly fine. These slow, repetitive tasks are meant to help you drift deeper into comfort. Let your thoughts settle like gentle waves beside a quiet ship. The sky outside is still a deep shade of blue, the kind that exists only moments before dawn. There's a fragile stillness to it, as though the day itself hasn't quite decided to begin. The crew respects this quiet. They move as though the ship itself is still asleep. In the galley, a small lamp flickers softly. Pots and simple tools rest neatly on wooden shelves. The cook prepares the early meal, working quietly so as not to break the calm atmosphere. The warm scent helps guide the crew slowly into wakefulness, offering comfort before the day's work begins. Across the ship, another crew member checks the navigation instruments. His movements are slow and intentional. He notes the ship's position, listens to the soft creak of the hull, and makes small adjustments to keep the vessel true to its course. Precision matters, but nothing is rushed in these early hours. A soft reminder drifts in again. You're allowed to let go a little more now. Notice your breathing, steady and smooth, as we continue gently forward. Somewhere along the deck, the first hints of morning light appear. A faint glow kisses the edge of the horizon. The ocean reflects it like brushed metal, calm and cool. The crew pauses for a moment to take it in. Even on long journeys, the rising light always feels familiar, quiet, hopeful, and steady. This is the moment when the ship fully wakes. Not suddenly, but like a slow exhale. The creaks, the soft footsteps, the hum of the engine, the light spreading across the sky. Everything blends together into one calm beginning. A beginning that feels just right for easing yourself toward rest. As the morning settles into its earliest rhythm, the ship feels like its own small world drifting gently through open water. Every sound blends together into a slow harmony, the muted thrum of the engine, the soft crackle of lantern flames, and the faint brushing of waves against the hull. Each detail adds another layer of calm, guiding you deeper into a restful focus. Down below, a few crew members check the tools laid out from the night before. Metal wrenches, wooden boxes, and neatly coiled rope all rest in place. They move their hands carefully, making sure everything is ready for the tasks ahead. This quiet preparation has a peaceful rhythm to it, like the steady breath of someone easing into sleep. Up on the deck, the air feels crisp. The sky begins shifting from deep navy to softer hues, hinting at the promise of dawn. The crew adjusts their jackets and stretch their arms lightly, letting the cool breeze refresh them before the day becomes busy. They speak little, but their movements show years of routine, built through practice and patience. A gentle reminder as you listen, you're welcome to let your thoughts grow slower now. This story doesn't require effort, just a soft presence, the way one might listen to gentle waves in the distance. The ship continues forward with unwavering steadiness, cutting through the water with a calm purpose. Early steamships relied not only on machinery but on the discipline and awareness of those who cared for them. Each crew member plays a part, and their cooperation forms an unspoken bond. No one needs to speak loudly. The quiet itself guides their actions. Near the bow, one of the crew takes a quiet moment to observe the horizon. With no sunlight yet, the sea looks like a wide sheet of cool glass stretching endlessly in every direction. It's a sight that humbles even the most experienced sailors. In these early hours, before the world brightens, the ocean feels gentle and almost timeless, not eternal, but steady in its own fleeting way. Inside the corridors, lanterns sway ever so slightly with the motion of the ship. Shadows drift across the wooden walls in smooth, slow patterns. The crew moves carefully to avoid waking those still resting, each step measured and deliberate. This respect for quiet is part of the ship's morning ritual, a way of honoring the calm before the demands of the day unfold. Another soft anchor to check in with yourself. If your breathing has slowed, that's good. If your eyes feel heavy, that's good too. This is a space where your body is welcome to relax. In the galley, the cook continues preparing warm food for the crew. Pots clink gently, lids shift, and steam rises in thin ribbons. The scent drifts through the hallway, comforting and familiar. Meals aboard early steamships were simple, but their warmth brought energy and ease, another small blessing in long days at sea. Outside, the sky finally brightens into a pale blue. The first rays of light move across the waves, shimmering softly. The ship's wooden surface glows with new color, and the crew instinctively adjusts their pace as morning truly begins. Tools are carried, ropes are checked again, and the deck slowly fills with movement, though still gentle and controlled. The early engine breathes steadily through its pipes and valves. The warmth from below slowly spreads upward, making the chill of the morning less sharp. The ship feels awake now, fully in motion, ready for the day's responsibilities. But before the noise and routine settle in, the crew savors these last quiet moments, knowing how rare and peaceful they can be. Another gentle reminder for you, you're welcome to drift. Let the steady rhythm of the ship carry your mind just a little further from the noise of your day. The ocean surface reflects the rising sunlight like scattered silver. The horizon softens into a warm glow. A few seabirds begin to appear in the distance, gliding effortlessly with the wind. Their silent flight adds one more peaceful note to the morning scene, as though nature itself greets the ship with calm respect. And so the day officially begins aboard the early steamship, not with chaos, but with soft preparation, quiet footsteps, and the steady comfort of routine. It's a gentle awakening shaped by teamwork, patience, and the slow unfolding of dawn across the open sea. A beginning that invites you to rest even more deeply, knowing the ship moves forward in steady, tranquil motion. Before the steamship fully greets the morning, there is a gentle moment when the crew slowly brings the vessel to life. Not all at once, but like stretching after a long night of rest, easing into movement with calm intention. In this soft hour, you can almost feel the ship breathe, steady, quiet, and patient, like a companion drifting through the water with you. The questions from earlier still echo warmly. From which country are you listening tonight? And what time is it where you are? And as always, if peaceful stories like this bring you comfort, you're welcome to support this small channel by pressing like, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Your presence truly means a lot. Now let's step back onto the steamship. The first footsteps of the morning travel through the wooden floors, soft enough not to disturb anyone who may still be resting. The ship is dimly lit, lanterns swaying gently with each movement of water below. The world feels smaller here, wrapped in quiet warmth and steady vibrations from the engine that continues to function through the natural order that the Almighty allows. Crew members begin checking their stations with practiced ease. Some make their way to the deck to inspect the ropes, testing each knot with firm but quiet hands. Others look over the wooden planks, making sure everything is as it should be after the long night. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is loud. Every action is calm and steady. If your breathing feels slower now, let it happen. These moments on a ship are meant to carry you gently toward comfort, the way early morning light softens the edges of the world. Down in the passageways, the air is cool. Crew members move with a respectful pace, aware that the morning still holds its delicate stillness. Their shadows glide along the walls as lantern light dances softly across polished wood. It's a peaceful scene, one shaped by discipline, routine, and quiet cooperation. Inside the navigation room, one of the crew studies the instruments laid out neatly on the table. The glass of the compass reflects the dim light, and the small metal pointer stays steady as the ship glides forward. He writes down the ship's position in calm handwriting, his pen moving slowly across the page. This simple act anchors the morning ritual. A gentle anchor for you. It's okay if your mind begins to drift like the waves outside that silent room. You don't need to hold on to every detail. This story is meant to flow around you, not demand attention. On deck, the horizon remains dim but shows early signs of awakening. A faint silver glow stretches across the water. The sea is calm, its surface smooth enough to reflect the soft light. The crew takes a moment to observe it before continuing with their tasks. These quiet glances at the sea are part of the rhythm. They remind everyone how vast the world is, even in silence. In the engine area, the warmth has begun spreading gently. Pipes release small breaths of steam, and the steady pulse of machinery deepens. The engineers listen closely, ensuring everything sounds as it should. Their work isn't dramatic, but it's essential. A smooth start to the day means a smooth journey ahead. Another soft reminder, if your eyes feel heavier, you can let them. Let the ship carry the weight for a little while. Ropes are lifted, inspected, then placed down with steady hands. Wooden crates are checked for stability. Lifeboats are examined again, their ropes secured neatly along the sides. These early duties are a mix of caution and habit, blending into a seamless routine shaped by experience. Along the railing, one of the crew leans forward slightly, letting the cool breeze brush against his face. The air smells of salt and faint minerals brought from distant places across the ocean. It is refreshing, almost cleansing, a quiet start before the busier hours arrive. Inside the ship, the soft clinking of metal tools echoes quietly as crews prepare for their tasks. Everything feels measured, almost meditative. There is no space for chaos in these early hours, only steady preparation and gentle cooperation. Up above, a faint pink begins to appear along the sky. It is subtle, delicate, like the first brushstroke of a new day. The crew notices it silently, each person acknowledging the moment in their own way. Morning is arriving, slowly and calmly. And as the steamship continues gliding forward, the day begins to wake, not suddenly, but smoothly, like a blanket being lifted just enough to let in the first soft hint of light. As the morning light slowly strengthens, the crew settles deeper into their routine. Their movements are unhurried, shaped more by familiarity than urgency. Each person knows the part they play in waking the ship, and together they create a rhythm that feels almost musical in its calm consistency. The deck softens under the growing glow of dawn. Wooden planks show gentle textures, brushed by years of sea journeys. The crew walks across them with quiet steps, their boots leaving faint echoes that blend with the soothing sounds of water tapping lightly against the hull. This is the moment when the ship transitions from night's stillness to day's soft awakening. Inside the passageways, the lanterns dim as the natural light begins to replace them. The warm flicker becomes softer, allowing the pale morning glow to seep through the narrow windows. Shadows shift, stretching slowly across the wooden walls like long ribbons welcoming the start of a new day. A calm reminder for you. You can breathe a little deeper, letting your chest rise and fall gently as the ship around you settles into its steady rhythm. This quiet world is here to support your rest. In the galley, the cook continues preparing food for the crew. Wooden utensils clink softly against metal pots. Warm steam curls upward and drifts gently through the doorway. The scent of the morning meal fills the small space, offering comfort to anyone who passes by, easing them into wakefulness. On the outer deck, a few crew members pause to stretch, rolling their shoulders and loosening stiff joints from a night's rest. Their breaths blend with the cool air as they quietly begin preparing the ship's equipment for the day. Coils of rope are adjusted, buckets are placed where they're needed, and every detail is checked with careful consistency. The horizon becomes clearer now. The sky turns from pale blue to warmer tones, touching the water with soft reflections. The steamship moves forward in a calm, unwavering line, its motion steady and confident. The crew takes a moment to appreciate the view, knowing how rare and peaceful such mornings can be on long voyages. Another gentle anchor for your awareness. If part of you feels like sinking deeper into relaxation, that feeling is welcome. Let the quiet morning of this ship help you drift. Below the deck, the engineers examine the engine once more. They observe the steam's pressure, the warmth of the metal, and the steady pulse of the machinery. Everything works together through the natural laws the Almighty allows to function. They nod with satisfaction, comforted by the smooth, familiar sounds that signal a good start. Back above, the first true sunlight brushes across the ship's railing. Tiny glimmers dance along the metal fixtures, making the entire vessel look slightly warmer and more alive. The crew continues their tasks with the same steady pace, adjusting anything that needs attention with practiced hands. In the corridors, footsteps become more frequent but remain gentle. The ship feels like it is awakening fully now, still calm, still peaceful, but no longer in the half-sleep of early dawn. Every movement, every sound contributes to the rhythm of a new day at sea. The wind begins to shift slightly, carrying a fresher scent across the deck. The ocean looks smoother under the rising sun, as though it, too, embraces the new day with subtle ease. Crew members glance out at the open water, finding quiet reassurance in its endless calm. A soft reminder once more, you don't need to stay alert. Let the story guide you gently, like a steady current carrying a small boat. With each passing moment, the steamship wakes more fully. Machinery hums with warmth, crew members glide through their tasks, and the soft light of morning paints the ship in gentle colors. Together, these elements create a peaceful opening for the day, a slow, steady transition that mirrors the calm unfolding within you. As the sun rises higher, the ship continues forward with renewed clarity, ready for whatever the day brings. But for now, in this quiet stretch of morning, everything remains serene, patient, and deeply soothing. A world where the ship wakes slowly, and you can let your thoughts drift like quiet ripples on an endless sea. Before the day fully unfolds aboard an early steamship, there is a gentle pause where the crew gathers for their first meal. It is a moment that feels warm, structured, and quietly human, marking the transition from the soft stillness of dawn to the slow rhythm of the morning routine. The ship continues forward, steady and calm, as if inviting everyone to ease into the day without hurry. The questions from earlier still linger softly. From where are you listening, and what time is it there right now? And before we continue drifting deeper into this peaceful story, if calm historical journeys like this help you rest, you're welcome to support this simple channel with a like, a subscription, or a few words in the comments. It truly helps this small project grow gently. Now, imagine stepping into the steamship's modest galley. The warm air inside contrasts with the cool breeze from outside. A faint glow from lanterns lights the room, mixing with the early morning colors slipping through the small windows. The cook moves quietly, preparing simple meals that bring comfort to tired hands and sleepy minds. Wooden bowls and tin cups are placed neatly along the counter. The soft clinking of utensils is the only real sound in the room, echoing lightly against the wooden walls. It gives the galley a soothing rhythm, almost like a lullaby hidden within ordinary tasks. The kind of sound that makes your breathing slow down without you noticing. The crew enters in small groups, their footsteps muffled by worn floorboards. They sit together with an easy familiarity, not talking loudly, but sharing a quiet understanding that mornings at sea belong to slow beginnings. Their conversations, when they happen, are gentle, soft reflections, small observations, or brief greetings spoken in low voices. If your thoughts begin drifting, let them. These scenes on the ship are meant to flow around you like calm water, helping you sink deeper into rest. The cook serves warm food, simple and filling. The smell drifts through the room, spreading comfort in every direction. It is not extravagant, but it is nourishing, another blessing that helps the crew stay steady through long hours. They eat slowly, savoring the warmth that settles into their bodies, preparing them for the tasks ahead. Outside the galley, the low hum of the engine continues its consistent pattern. Through the walls, it feels like a heartbeat, steady, grounding, and reassuring. The crew finds comfort in that sound. It reminds them that the ship is alive with movement, carrying them forward across the open sea through the natural laws the Almighty allows to function. Some of the crew sip warm drinks while leaning back slightly, letting their shoulders relax. These moments of ease are precious on a steamship, where work can stretch across long hours. The calm of this early meal gives them a chance to reset their minds, breathe steadily, and prepare themselves for what comes next. A gentle reminder, your breathing can soften here. Let your chest rise and fall slowly, matching the easy rhythm of the ship. In a small corner of the room, 2 crew members quietly review the tasks for the morning. They look over their notes, pointing at simple lists written in neat handwriting. Their expressions are calm, their voices low. There is no pressure in their tone, only a steady commitment to routine. As the meal winds down, some begin gathering their tools, tucking small items into their pockets or adjusting the straps of their jackets. Their movements remain slow and deliberate, maintaining the peaceful energy of the early hour. No one rushes. There is time, and the day will unfold at its own pace. Others pause at the door before stepping out, taking one last warm breath from the galley before returning to the crisp air of the deck. The contrast between the two spaces, the warmth inside and the gentle chill outside, creates a soft transition that makes the morning feel even more refreshing. The crew finishes their meal gradually, each person rising in their own time. The clinking of cups becomes quieter as the room empties. The cook begins tidying the space with calm repetition, wiping the counters and placing utensils back into their proper places. The galley feels smaller now, quiet and clean once more. And as the last few crew members step out, the ship continues forward under the pale morning sky. The early meal has prepared everyone with warmth, steadiness, and a shared sense of calm, setting a gentle foundation for the work that awaits them on this peaceful morning at sea. As the crew steps out from the warm galley and onto the deck, the morning air greets them with a soft, cool touch. It awakens their senses just enough to feel refreshed but never rushed. The sky has brightened slightly since they first entered, and pale light now spreads across the wooden surface of the steamship like a gentle wash of color. Some crew members move toward their stations with quiet confidence. They adjust the equipment they prepared the night before, checking ropes, fittings, and tools with calm precision. Their movements are practiced and unhurried, shaped by years of routine. The ship hums beneath them as the engine continues its steady rhythm, offering reassurance through familiar sound. Within the narrow passageways, shadows drift more naturally now as the lanterns give way to soft daylight. The gentle brightness makes the space feel a little wider, a little warmer, even though the walls remain close. Crew members pass each other with polite nods, sharing the silent bond of early morning work. A soft reminder, you're welcome to sink deeper into rest as the scene unfolds. Let the measured pace of the crew help your breathing grow even slower, even softer. Above the deck, the sky shifts into a calm gradient, cool blues blending into delicate hints of gold. The ocean reflects this change with a subtle shimmer, like brushed metal glowing under the sun. The steamship cuts through the water with effortless grace, guided by the cooperation and discipline of those caring for it. One crew member stands by the railing for a moment, letting the breeze touch his face. The scent of salt and distant mineral notes drift through the air. It is a peaceful moment, a small pause he allows himself before continuing with the day's responsibilities. Moments like this help sustain the crew through long voyages. Below, the galley grows quiet again. The cook finishes cleaning and sets aside utensils for the next meal. The warm scents from earlier begin to fade gently, replaced by the cool freshness drifting in from the open deck. It marks the end of the morning ritual and the beginning of a new flow of duties. Another soft anchor for your attention. If your eyes feel heavier now, it's perfectly fine. This slow, simple world on the steamship exists to help you loosen your thoughts. On the deck, a few crew members begin coordinating the tasks for the next several hours. Their voices remain low, their gestures calm. They point towards sections of the ship that need tending, ropes to be checked, surfaces to be cleaned, equipment to be inspected. Nothing harsh, nothing loud. Just clean cooperation moving like a steady current. The steamship continues forward through gentle waters. The sound of waves brushing against the hull becomes clearer now that the morning meal has ended. It adds a soothing rhythm beneath the murmurs of the crew, blending into a soundscape that feels naturally calming, almost meditative. Above the wheelhouse, a soft creak comes from the mast as it adjusts to the morning breeze. The sailcloth and rigging respond with light, flexible movements. Even these sounds contribute to the slow awakening of the ship, each creak and sway marking the transition from night stillness to daylight action. At the center of the deck, the sunlight finally begins touching the wooden planks directly. The surface warms by a small degree, enough to make the air feel more comfortable. The warmth spreads gradually, as though the morning itself is settling onto the ship with quiet reassurance. Another gentle reminder: breathe out slowly and let your shoulders release any remaining tension. The ship's steady pace is here to hold you. Crew members finish their early checks and begin preparing for the next round of work. Some gather tools, others double-check the safety equipment, and a few simply take a last moment of calm before the tasks of the day fully start. Their calm preparation forms the foundation of the ship's reliability. By the time all tasks are arranged, the energy of the ship has shifted. It remains peaceful, but now there is a soft momentum guiding every movement. The crew is ready, the equipment is prepared, and the early warmth of the galley lingers in their bodies as they begin the day's journey across the open sea. And so, the quiet ritual of the early meal leads seamlessly into the steady preparation that defines morning life aboard the steamship, a gentle, grounding routine that supports both the ship and the minds of those who guide it. As the morning finally stretches across the horizon, the deck of the early steamship becomes a place of quiet purpose. The sunlight does not rush in. It arrives gently, laying a soft golden tint across the wooden planks. This moment, when the light first touches the ship, is a cue for the crew to begin their deck duties with steady, unhurried intention. Before we continue, I'm still curious from earlier. Where are you listening from tonight, and what time does your world show right now? And if slow, calming journeys through history like this soothe your mind, feel free to tap like, subscribe, or leave a soft comment. Your support truly helps this quiet channel drift a little further. Now imagine stepping onto the deck with the crew. The boards beneath your feet feel cool, still holding the memory of night. The scent of seawater rises gently from below, mixing with faint hints of warm metal drifting up from the engine room. Everything is peaceful, almost still, except for the soft brushing of waves against the hull. Crew members move across the deck with measured steps. Some carry buckets of fresh water, letting it slosh lightly as they clean the surface from the salt carried by the night wind. Others sweep, pushing bristles slowly across the planks, creating a soft rhythm that blends seamlessly with the calm morning air. If you notice your breathing slowing here, that's good. This part of the journey is meant to help you settle, just like the crew settling into their tasks. Along the railing, a crew member checks each support carefully. His hand glides across the polished wood, feeling for anything out of place. The railings, though sturdy, need daily attention because the sea air can wear things down quietly over time. The work isn't dramatic, but it is steady, important, and somehow soothing to watch. Another crew member kneels beside a coil of rope. He unwinds it slowly, checking for fraying or moisture. Then he winds it back with practiced precision, each loop laying neatly atop the next. The movement has a gentle repetition to it, like a calming exercise that steadies the mind. Beside the lifeboats, 2 crew members inspect every fastening. They lean close, tightening knots, adjusting wooden braces, and lightly tapping the oars to ensure they sit properly. All of it done calmly, with no raised voices, no urgency, just quiet responsibility shaped by long days at sea. A soft reminder for you, if your thoughts drift like a small boat wandering on calm water, that's perfectly fine. Let them. The story will hold your place. The morning breeze brushes gently along the deck, shifting the faint mist that lingers near the bow. Crew members pause occasionally to take in a view, the wide sea glowing under sunlight, the gentle ripples catching gold at the edges. These pauses ground them, like the first deep breaths after waking. Near the center of the deck, a few crew members begin polishing metal fixtures. Their cloths move in slow circles, lifting away salt and residue from the night. The light reflects softly off the metal as they work, creating tiny flashes of brightness that shimmer like calm sparks along the surface. Further down, someone lifts a wooden hatch and checks the compartments below. The thud of the hatch closing is soft and controlled, blending naturally with the morning's gentle landscape of sounds. Everything feels deliberate, mindful, even the smallest action. Up by the bow, the sunlight grows stronger, illuminating the thin lines of the rope and the texture of the wooden planks. Shadows stretch in long, peaceful shapes. The ship seems to welcome the day with quiet pride, its surfaces warming slowly under the sun's touch. If your eyes feel heavier now, let them. This part of the morning on the steamship is designed to be slow, grounding, and deeply calm. Some crew members gather near the mast, checking the rigging and ensuring it sits correctly for the day's conditions. They test each knot with gentle pressure, listen to the creak of the lines adjusting to the breeze, and work with the same careful awareness that guides the rest of the ship's duties. And as they continue their tasks, the deck becomes a picture of peaceful cooperation, each movement subtle and meaningful, like a soft symphony of morning labor that sets the tone for the hours ahead. As the sunlight settles more deeply across the deck, the morning atmosphere becomes even softer. The crew works in quiet synchrony, each person performing tasks shaped by habit and gentle discipline. Nothing feels rushed. The ship seems to encourage patience with every subtle sway. Near the side of the ship, a crew member uses a long-handled brush to scrub away a thin layer of salt left from the night air. The bristles glide across the wood in slow, steady strokes. The sound is soft, almost like paper brushing against fabric. Each movement reveals a cleaner, warmer surface beneath, bringing life back into the planks. Another crew member inspects the ropes attached to the winch. He checks the tension carefully, pulling lightly and feeling the response through his fingertips. Once satisfied, he adjusts the wheel with quiet precision. The soft click of the mechanism blends smoothly into the morning's gentle soundscape. A calm reminder for you here. It's okay to breathe out slowly and let your shoulders relax. The steamship's pace is steady, and you're welcome to drift with it. Closer to the bow, a crew member wipes the railings with a damp cloth. The cloth glides over the wood in long motions, removing thin traces of sea spray. The rhythmic movement brings a sense of calm repetition, like a slow tide brushing against a familiar shore. His expression remains peaceful, focused only on the simple task before him. Up by the mast, sunlight casts slender beams that highlight the rope lines. Two crew members test each line with gentle tugs, ensuring the tension sits just right for the weather ahead. Their voices remain soft, almost whispers, as they coordinate the task. The mast creaks slightly, responding to their careful adjustments. Inside a small compartment on the deck, another crew member checks the tools stored there. He lifts each item, inspects it briefly, and places it back with calm precision. The wooden box they're stored in gives a faint, warm sound whenever he shifts something, a gentle tap that fits perfectly into the ship's morning rhythm. The breeze begins to warm slightly as the sun climbs higher. It carries a mix of scents, salt, clean wood, and distant minerals from the vast sea. Crew members breathe it in naturally as they work, letting it refresh their senses and bring steadiness to their movements. Another gentle anchor for your awareness. If your thoughts feel slower now, it's a good sign. Let the calmness support you as the ship continues gliding peacefully across the water. Further down the deck, someone oils a metal hinge on a small storage door. The hinge lets out a faint, satisfying sigh as the oil settles in. The sound is so soft it almost disappears into the breeze, but it adds another tiny layer to the harmonious morning atmosphere. Near the lifeboats, the crew performs one last round of inspections. Their hands move along the wooden edges, checking for any signs of moisture or wear. The ropes are tested once more, knots gently tightened. This routine brings reassurance, small actions that contribute to the ship's safety and stability throughout the journey. As the sun rises, faint glimmers reflect off the metal fittings along the deck. These tiny flashes look like brief sparks of light dancing across the surface, appearing and fading in gentle rhythm with the ship's motion. Crew members notice them quietly, appreciating the simple beauty they bring to an ordinary morning. At the far end of the deck, someone sweeps the last traces of salt toward the edge where the wind carries it away. The sweeping sound is unhurried and soft, like a gentle whisper traveling along the floorboards. The ship feels clean, refreshed, and ready for the day. A final reminder for this section: you can allow yourself to grow even more relaxed. Let the slow, repetitive motions of the crew settle your thoughts like sand settling at the bottom of calm water. And as the last of the deck duties are completed, the steamship stands fully awakened under the warm morning light. The crew's calm efforts create a sense of harmony that sets the tone for the rest of the voyage, a peaceful rhythm that drifts with you, inviting you to continue resting as the ship glides steadily across the open sea. As the morning settles fully into place, the heart of the steamship turns toward one of its calmest yet most important routines, the quiet coordination of navigation. This part of the ship feels different from the bustling deck, slower, more thoughtful, as though every movement is shaped with intention. Here, the day begins not with noise, but with gentle focus and steady hands. Before we continue, I'd still love to know, from which country are you listening tonight, and what time is it in your world? And if peaceful historical stories like this bring you comfort, feel free to support this small, quiet channel by pressing like, subscribing, or leaving a soft comment. Your presence truly helps this little space grow. Now, let's step softly into the navigation room. The air inside is cool and still. Wooden walls hold the faint scent of aged varnish, and a single lantern casts a warm glow across the instruments. Charts lie neatly on the table, their edges slightly curled from years of gentle use. The calm atmosphere makes every sound carry softly: the scratch of a pen, the creak of a chair, the rustle of paper. The navigator leans over a large chart spread across the central table. His fingers move along familiar coastlines and open water routes. The ship's position is marked carefully, and each update is recorded with slow, deliberate strokes. His handwriting is calm and steady, matching the pace of the ship itself as it glides forward. If your breathing slows here, let it. Even the navigation room seems to encourage stillness, as though the ship wants you to soften into its rhythm. Beside the navigator, another crew member checks the compass. The needle sits steady, pointing in a clean, unwavering line. The glass cover reflects the lantern's glow, creating a soft halo around the instrument. It's a simple device, but it serves a vital role, one made possible through the natural laws that the Almighty allows to guide the world consistently. Near the window, someone lifts a small telescope and peers gently toward the horizon. The morning light makes the sea shimmer in a soft haze. There are no obstacles in sight, just an open expanse of quiet water stretching endlessly ahead. He lowers the telescope slowly, comforted by the calm view. Another gentle reminder, you're allowed to drift, just like the ship drifting through wide open water. Let your thoughts unwind one by one. Across the room, a crew member adjusts the wheel slightly. The movement is minimal, a small correction to keep the ship aligned with the planned route. The wooden wheel responds with a faint creak, adding to the soft symphony of morning sounds. Every adjustment is careful, patient, and unhurried. In the corner of the room, a logbook rests open. Each entry marks a step in the ship's journey, weather changes, sea conditions, and slow course adjustments. The writing forms a quiet record that guides the next decisions. The pages turn softly, the paper making a light flutter in the still air. Outside the navigation room, soft footsteps pass through the corridor. Their echoes bounce gently against the walls, creating a peaceful rhythm that blends seamlessly with the calm focus inside. The ship feels alive, but never loud, just steady, balanced, and attentive. Near the chart table, the navigator uses a pair of dividers to measure distances between key points on the map. The metal tips click lightly against the chart, making a delicate sound that signals precision without urgency. He nods to himself, satisfied, and makes another small note in the margin. The morning sunlight creeps further into the room through the narrow window. It paints gentle lines across the charts and instruments, warming the edges of the wooden table. The soft light adds a serene glow to the room, as though the day itself is assisting in the ship's guidance. And as the navigator and crew continue their gentle work, the steamship holds steady on its course, moving forward through calm waters with the help of quiet cooperation and thoughtful attention. All of it soft, peaceful, and carefully aligned with the rhythm of the open sea. As the minutes drift by, the navigation room settles into a soft harmony of movement and calm awareness. The crew members continue their tasks with a quiet confidence, each action guided by routine and a deep understanding of how the ship responds to the world around it. Nothing feels rushed. Every sound, every faint creak, every soft tap blends into a peaceful rhythm. One of the crew steps over to check the barometer mounted on the wall. He studies the needle with steady eyes, noting the air pressure with practiced familiarity. The glass is cool to the touch, and the soft glow from the lantern reflects across its surface. He records the reading with smooth, measured strokes, adding another layer to the ship's understanding of the day ahead. Near the wheel, a crew member listens quietly to the distant, low hum of the steam engine below. The vibration carries faintly through the floorboards, a reminder of the power working beneath their feet, allowed to function through the natural order the Almighty has established. It is a comforting presence, steady and grounding. A soft reminder for you, if your eyes feel heavier, you can let them. The navigation room is meant to feel like a quiet corner of the world where everything slows down. At the chart table, the navigator makes another small adjustment to the planned route. It isn't a dramatic shift, just a careful refinement to match the expected weather and sea conditions. He moves a small wooden ruler along the map, aligning lines with gentle precision. The ruler slides against the chart with a soft, satisfying sound. Outside the window, the horizon brightens, revealing a smooth line where sea meets sky. The navigator watches it for a moment, appreciating the calmness. The water glimmers faintly, touched by the soft morning light. It's a quiet reassurance that the ship travels in stable, welcoming waters. A crew member checks the chronometer next, ensuring the time is accurate. The instrument ticks quietly, each sound evenly spaced, creating a slow heartbeat for the room. He notes the time carefully in the logbook, his handwriting neat and calm. Another gentle anchor. Take a slow breath in and let it fall gently. The ship is steady. You're safe to drift. In another corner, a crew member examines the sextant, wiping its metal surfaces with a soft cloth to keep it clean and ready. Even though the morning sky is bright and easy to read, they maintain the tool with respect for its purpose. Its polished frame catches the light, creating small reflections that dance across the wooden walls. The navigator and wheelman exchange a few quiet words, brief updates, spoken softly. Their communication is smooth, almost effortless, shaped by long hours spent working side by side. They don't need many words to coordinate. The The calmness of their tone influences the entire room, making every corner feel settled. The navigation room holds a stillness that feels almost like a pause in time. Only the soft movements break the quiet, the rustle of charts, the faint creak of wood, the whisper of pencil against paper. These sounds form a gentle pattern, guiding the ship with patient consistency. Outside, the ship continues gliding across calm water. Sunlight reflects in soft ripples, making the sea look like brushed silver. The steady motion is soothing, a quiet reminder that the journey is long, but guided with care and coordination. A final reminder as we approach the end of this segment: let your breathing follow the rhythm of the ship, slow, steady, unforced. There is nothing here you need to hold onto tightly. And as the navigation tasks settle into a natural lull, the steamship continues its peaceful journey forward. The crew's calm coordination ensures that every movement, every course adjustment, and every recorded detail supports the smooth path ahead. The morning grows a little brighter, the air a little warmer, and the ship remains steady, guided by gentle hands and quiet minds. As the sun climbs higher into the sky, the steamship settles into the steady comfort of its midday rhythm. The early tasks are complete, the morning light has fully bloomed, and now the vessel glides forward with a calm confidence. This part of the day is not rushed or noisy. It is steady, warm, and filled with simple movements that keep the ship functioning smoothly. Before we continue, I'm still curious. From which country are you listening right now? And what time is it where you are? And if gentle historical journeys like this help you relax or fall asleep, feel free to support this quiet channel by pressing like, subscribing, or sharing your thoughts. Even a few kind words help this small space grow softly. Now imagine walking slowly across the deck under the midday light. The sun warms the wooden planks, making them feel alive beneath your feet. The breeze is gentle, carrying a faint mix of salt, warm metal, and open water. Crew members move with a relaxed determination, comfortable in their routines yet never careless. Some crew members head toward the cargo area, where wooden crates sit stacked and secured. They check each rope fastening, tugging lightly to ensure nothing has shifted with the ship's movement. Their hands move with practiced confidence, their breaths calm and steady as they work beneath the soft glow of midday. A quiet reminder: if your body feels heavier, allow it. The ship's rhythm, especially at midday, has a way of inviting deeper relaxation. Below the deck, the engine maintains its warm, steady pulse. Engineers check gauges and valves, their faces calm as they listen to the low hum echoing through the metal and wood. The warmth in that space is noticeable, not harsh, but consistent, like the kind of heat that settles into the air after a long morning of work. They make small adjustments with focused precision, honoring the natural laws the Almighty set in motion that allow the machinery to function. Above, on the deck, 2 crew members carry wooden buckets filled with clean water. They move them to various stations around the ship, keeping the tools and ropes ready for the work ahead. The water sloshes gently inside the buckets, creating a soft, repetitive sound that blends into the midday calm. Near the railing, a young crew member leans slightly forward, scanning the ocean's surface for debris or small changes in texture. He is not tense, just attentive, letting his eyes move slowly across the vast water. The sunlight scatters across the waves, creating shimmering patches that flicker and fade in gentle rhythm. A soft anchor for your awareness. Breathe slowly. Let your mind open and close like the tide. Quiet, natural, effortless. Inside the corridors, the air feels cooler. Crew members walk through with light steps, carrying tools or folded cloths. Their conversations are minimal. The ship seems to encourage silence during the midday hours, offering everyone a chance to conserve energy for the work that remains. In the galley, the cook finishes cleaning after the early meal. The scent of food has faded, replaced by the clean wooden aroma of the space. Pots rest neatly on their shelves, and the soft clink of a lid closing echoes gently through the room. This is a rare moment of stillness before preparations begin again later. Back on deck, the sun casts soft shadows beneath the ropes and railings. The warm air wraps around the crew like a blanket. Not too hot, not too bright, just steady and comforting. It creates an atmosphere of quiet productivity, where each task feels smooth and predictable. Some of the crew use this time to repair small items, patching a worn section of rope, polishing a tool, or retard a small wooden seam along the ship's surface. These tasks often go unnoticed by passengers but form the backbone of the ship's reliability. And as the steamship continues cutting gently through the water, the midday routine brings a deep, grounding sense of calm, the kind that reminds you everything is moving forward steadily, with no need to rush. As the afternoon drifts closer, the ship's atmosphere becomes even more settled. The crew continues their midday duties with a quiet steadiness, shaped by routine and trust in one another. The bright sunlight softens into a warm, gentle glow, making the air feel calm and clear. The ship moves smoothly, cutting through calm water like a brushstroke gliding over canvas. A crew member kneels beside a wooden storage chest, checking its hinges and securing its latch. The wood creaks lightly as he moves, but the sound is peaceful, blending perfectly with the ship's soft rhythm. He presses the latch gently twice, making sure it holds, then rises slowly, brushing dust from his hands. Nearby, two others examine a coil of rope, lifting it carefully, feeling for moisture or damage. Their movements are quiet and coordinated. They loop the rope with patient hands, laying it down neatly in its place. The repetition of their task gives the moment a soothing quality, like a slow, familiar pattern. A gentle reminder to you, it's perfectly fine if your thoughts feel slower now. You can let the midday calm of the ship guide you deeper into rest. Down by the engine room hatch, a warm breeze of heat rises through the narrow opening. An engineer wipes sweat from his brow and studies the gauges again, murmuring soft observations to himself. The machinery continues its steady hum, functioning through the natural laws the Almighty set in motion. The engineer nods with quiet satisfaction before climbing the ladder back to the deck. At the front of the ship, one of the crew stands with arms folded loosely, watching the horizon. The water stretches endlessly ahead, smooth and shimmering under the sun. He surveys the sea for shifting patterns, signs of floating debris, or changing currents. His gaze moves slowly, unhurried, as though he has all the time in the world. Inside the shaded corridor, soft footsteps echo as crew members carry folded canvas, small tools, or messages passed from one section of the ship to another. Their pace is gentle, the sound subtle, creating a peaceful rhythm that fills the narrow hallway without breaking its quiet. Another soft anchor for your awareness. Let your breath fall into a natural rhythm. The ship is calm. You can be calm with it. By the railing, a crew member takes a moment to adjust a pulley fixed to the outer side of the deck. He turns a small iron wheel, listening to the faint click as it locks into place. Satisfied, he gives it a final tug, then steps back to observe how the rope sits against the wood. Everything must align properly for the ship to remain steady. In another part of the deck, the carpenter examines a section of wood that has taken on moisture from the salty air. He taps it lightly with his knuckles, listening to the tone, then applies a thin coat of protective oil with calm, deliberate strokes. The smell of the oil mixes with the sea breeze, creating a pleasant, earthy scent. The sunlight shifts as the ship tilts gently, reflecting off metal fixtures in soft glimmers. These glimmers dance across the deck with every small movement of the water, adding a subtle beauty to the mundane tasks of the afternoon. The crew notices them silently, appreciating the moment without speaking. Another reminder, if your eyelids feel heavy, allow them. This story is here to guide you towards softness, not alertness. Near the stern, two crew members check the steering mechanisms. They turn a small wheel to test the responsiveness, listening to the faint creak of the wood below. Their expressions remain calm, their movements controlled. Everything feels steady, balanced, and predictable. As the midday routine wraps itself around the ship, a quiet sense of accomplishment settles over the crew. Their tasks, though simple, ensure that the steamship continues its journey safely and smoothly. The sun warms the deck, the breeze stays gentle, and the sea remains calm. And so, the midday hours glide forward, unremarkable, peaceful, and deeply grounding. A time when the ship, the crew, and the open sea exist in quiet harmony, carrying you along with them into a deeper sense of rest. As the day drifts into the softer hours of afternoon, the steamship enters a quieter phase of its routine. The sun has warmed the deck, the crew has settled into their rhythm, and now the ship moves with an almost dreamlike steadiness. This is the time when maintenance and small inspections take place, tasks that are simple, calm, and essential for the ship's long journey across open water. Before we continue, I'd still love to know where you're listening from and what time it is in your corner of the world. And if slow, soothing history helps you unwind, you're welcome to support this peaceful channel with a like, a subscription, or a gentle comment. Your presence truly helps this quiet project continue. Now imagine the afternoon light stretching across the deck in warm, golden layers. The shadows grow softer, longer, and the breeze cools just slightly. Crew members begin gathering the tools they need: small knives, polishing cloths, coils of rope, and wooden containers of oil. None of these tools are loud or disruptive. They belong perfectly to the quiet of the afternoon. Near the railing, a crew member begins tightening a knot that loosened during the ship's movement. His fingers move slowly, guiding the rope with practiced care. Each pull, each tuck, each adjustment feels methodical, almost meditative. The rope slides gently against the wood, creating a soft, consistent sound. If you feel your breath deepening, let it. These gentle tasks are meant to soothe you just as much as they sustain the ship. A little further down the deck, another crew member inspects a section of wood that is weathered under the sun. He taps it lightly, listening to the hollow tone. Then he kneels and begins applying a thin coat of oil across its surface. The brushstrokes are slow and smooth, leaving a soft sheen that catches the sunlight in quiet glimmers. Two crew members work together near the center of the deck. One holds a coil of rope while the other inspects it inch by inch. They speak in low voices, exchanging brief observations. Their teamwork is gentle and efficient, shaped by years of shared routines. When they finish checking the rope, they wind it back into a perfectly even coil. A soft reminder for you: it's okay if your thoughts float away like drifting leaves on calm water. You don't need to hold onto anything tightly here. Near the mast, a crew member climbs just high enough to adjust a fastening that shifted in the breeze. He moves slowly, choosing each foothold with care. When he reaches the wooden beam, he leans close to tighten a small metal ring. The sound of his tools is faint, soft taps blending into the quiet chorus of the afternoon. Along the walkway, another crew member kneels to check the hinges of a storage compartment. He opens it gently, listening for any stiffness or unusual resistance. Satisfied, he wipes the hinges with a small rag, leaving the metal smoother and ready for the days ahead. The compartment closes with a soft, comforting thud. In the shadowed corner of the deck, someone wipes down the oars stored for emergencies. The wood gleams faintly as the cloth moves across the handles. These small acts, cleaning, checking, adjusting, may seem simple, but they create a sense of calm responsibility that fills the entire ship. Another anchor for your awareness: breathe gently. Feel the pace of the story slow you down, one soft sentence at a time. Inside a side corridor, the faint scent of oil and salt lingers as crew members inspect the smaller storage areas. They do this not with urgency, but with a peaceful understanding that small details matter at sea. Each item is accounted for. Every latch and hinge is tested. On the outer deck, the afternoon sun glints off the metal rings and fastenings. Crew members polish these pieces with cloths dipped in a small amount of oil. Their slow, circular motions create a soft sheen that catches the light and sends tiny, shimmering reflections across the deck floor. And as the ship continues forward through calm waters, the afternoon becomes a canvas of gentle movements, soft repairs, light touches, and quiet cooperation. Each task adds to the ship's strength, but also to the peaceful atmosphere that wraps itself around everyone on board. As the afternoon deepens, the soundscape of the steamship becomes even gentler. The crew moves with a slower, steadier rhythm, their tasks blending into the soft lull of the sea. The warm light settles across every surface, creating long shadows that move in harmony with the ship's quiet sway. Nothing is rushed. Everything unfolds with the calm certainty of practiced hands. One crew member kneels by a metal fixture that secures part of the railing. He runs his fingers along the edge to check for any roughness, then applies a thin coat of oil with a cloth. The motion is slow and circular, leaving the metal slightly darker at first, then gradually shining as the oil absorbs. The scent rises faintly into the air, mixing with salt and sun-warmed wood. A few steps away, someone tightens a small bolt with deliberate turns of a simple tool. The sound is soft, click, 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 barely louder than the whispering wind. When the bolt is fully secure, he pauses for a moment, listening to the sea as though the water itself confirms his work. A gentle reminder for you: allow your body to settle a little more. Let the slow rhythm of these simple actions carry your thoughts like drifting foam on the edge of a wave. Near the stern, 2 crew members check the pulleys connected to the rigging. They pull on the lines gently, letting the rope slide through their palms just enough to feel for wear. Their coordination is wordless. Each pull is followed by a slight nod, a shared understanding that everything is in good condition. Their expressions remain calm, softened by the warm afternoon glow. The carpenter returns to the bow, carrying a small wooden box filled with tools. He examines a part of the railing that has been exposed to harsh wind. Using a small piece of sandpaper, he smooths out a rough patch, moving his hand in slow, gentle strokes. The wood becomes softer under his touch, its texture returning to a clean, even surface. Below deck, a faint thud echoes as someone sets down a wooden crate. The corridor remains dimmer than the deck, but the quiet footsteps and low murmurs continue the peaceful chorus of the ship's daily routine. The air down there is cooler, filled with the earthy scent of timber and canvas. Another soft anchor for your awareness. Breathe deeply, then let the exhale fall as slowly as the ship gliding across calm water. Back on the deck, a crew member checks the emergency lanterns stored along the wall. He lifts each lantern gently, inspecting the glass and the metal frame. The movement is slow and methodical. After confirming each one's condition, he returns them to their places with a soft, controlled clink. At the center of the deck, a small group discusses the schedule for the next round of duties. Their voices stay low, blending seamlessly with the ship's gentle ambience. They gesture subtly toward different sections of the vessel, organizing the remaining inspections with quiet clarity. Near the lifeboats, another crew member uses a soft cloth to wipe away the thin residue of salt that gathers along the edge of the wooden frames. The afternoon sun lights up each droplet as it lifts away, leaving the boats clean and ready. He moves steadily, pausing only to stretch his fingers before continuing. A final reminder for this section: it's perfectly fine if your mind feels slower, heavier. This is the place where you're meant to unwind, matching the ship's calm pace. As the last of the maintenance tasks settles into completion, the steamship stands renewed under the glow of late afternoon. Every rope has been checked, every hinge touched with care, every surface cleaned or polished. The crew moves with quiet satisfaction, knowing their gentle work supports the ship's long journey. And so, the afternoon fades into a peaceful close. Soft repairs, quiet footsteps, and warm light mark the end of this chapter, a gentle transition toward the coming evening, where the ship will continue gliding steadily across the open sea, wrapped in calmness and the reassuring touch of routine. As the afternoon stretches quietly across the open sea, the steamship finally reaches a gentle pause in its routine. The hardest tasks of the day have passed, and now the crew settles into a rare moment of rest. It isn't a full break, nor a long one, but it is a deeply appreciated time where breaths become slower, steps become softer, and the ship seems to exhale with them. Before we drift further, I'm still curious. Where are you listening from, and what time is it in your world right now? And if these slow, calming stories help your mind unwind, feel free to support this peaceful channel with a like, a subscription, or a soft comment. Even a quiet message helps this small project continue. Now imagine stepping onto the deck as the sunlight begins to mellow. It no longer shines harshly but wraps everything in a warm, golden haze. The shadows stretch long across the planks, and the breeze cools slightly, brushing softly against the crew's faces. It is the kind of moment where a person naturally pauses, even without meaning to. Some crew members lean against the railing, letting their bodies rest while they look out over the open water. The sea shimmers gently beneath the sun, its surface dotted with small glints of light. The quiet is comforting, the kind that seems to smooth the edges of a long day. A soft reminder, allow your breathing to deepen just a little. This is the part of the journey where the ship invites you to slow down with it. Near the bow, one crew member sits on a wooden crate, stretching his legs after hours of work. He rubs his palms together, warming them, then places them on his knees with a small sigh. It's not exhaustion, just the natural easing that comes with a moment of stillness. Another crew member closes his eyes briefly while the wind brushes through his hair. He isn't asleep, but he lets himself drift into a quiet state where thoughts feel softer and less demanding. The repetitive movement of the waves below helps him settle into a calm, steady rhythm. Inside the shaded corridor, a few others rest by leaning their backs against the cool wooden walls. Their shoulders relax, their eyes grow half-lidded, and they speak only in murmurs. These corridors are usually filled with footsteps and tasks, but in this brief pause, they become a quiet sanctuary within the ship. Another gentle anchor. You're welcome to drift, too. Let your thoughts loosen the way a rope unwinds slowly in calm hands. Back outside, the warm scent of sunlit wood mixes with the faint metallic notes rising from the engine room. It's a familiar scent, one that wraps itself around the crew like a comforting blanket. The ship's slow, steady motion adds to the restful atmosphere, each sway guiding them toward deeper ease. On the middeck, someone sips a warm drink from a tin cup. The heat rises in gentle curls, carrying a soothing aroma that blends with the sea breeze. He holds the cup with both hands, savoring the warmth as it settles into his palms and chest. Near the lifeboats, another crew member rests with his back against the wooden frame, watching the sky shift slowly from bright gold to softer hues. The clouds drift lazily, stretching across the horizon like long strokes of paint. He follows their movement with half-focused eyes, letting the scene quiet his mind. Farther along the deck, two crew members sit side by side without speaking. They simply watch the sea, sharing a peaceful silence. Their companionship is comfortable and easy, shaped by long days of working together. Words aren't needed in moments like this. And as the steamship continues gliding through the calm afternoon, these small fragments of rest weave together into something gentle and grounding. They remind the crew that even in long journeys, there is space, however brief, for stillness, softness, and simple breath. As the ship drifts deeper into the gentle afternoon, the crew settles even more comfortably into their quiet pockets of rest. The wind softens, the waves slow their rhythm, and the entire vessel feels as though it is wrapped in a warm stillness. No urgency remains, only the drifting calm that comes after long hours of steady work. A crew member near the stern leans forward with his elbows resting on a railing. He watches the water swell below, forming small spirals that stretch and fade as the ship moves. The patterns mesmerize him, weaving a quiet rhythm that feels almost like a lullaby carried by the sea itself. Nearby, another crew member adjusts his cap and closes his eyes for a few moments. With the sun warming his face and the breeze cooling his skin, he allows himself to drift into a light, peaceful daze. The sounds around him, the creak of wood, the gentle splash of water, blend into a soothing chorus. A soft reminder for you, you're allowed to sink deeper into that same sense of ease. Let the ship's motion guide your breathing into something calm and slow. On the middeck, a small group shares a quiet conversation. Their voices are low and relaxed, blending with the soft ambient sounds of the sea. They talk not about work, but about simple things, memories of calm harbors, favorite foods shared on past journeys, or small observations from the day. Their words drift like gentle waves, never rising, never disturbing the peace. Inside one of the shaded hallways, a crew member sits with his back against the wall, stretching out his legs and resting his head lightly against the wood. His eyes stay half open as he watches dust particles drift through a soft beam of sunlight. The air feels cool here, and the slow movement of light puts him into a quiet, reflective mood. Further down the deck, the carpenter removes his hat and wipes his brow, appreciating the break from the sun. He sits on a low wooden step, tapping his fingers gently against his knee. Each tap is unhurried, matching the slow rhythm of the ship's rocking. Another gentle anchor. Breathe out slowly. Let the last bit of tension slide away, just as the crew lets the afternoon loosen their tired muscles. Near the bow, one of the younger crew members stands with his eyes fixed on the horizon. He isn't searching for anything particular. He simply enjoys the endless stretch of ocean and the way the sunlight dances across it. The calm view gives his mind space to wander, to quieten, to soften. Back inside, a crew member leans against a doorframe, quietly humming a tune from memory. The gentle notes barely rise above the sound of the wind. The melody is simple and calming, filling the corridor with a subtle warmth that blends seamlessly with the ship's peaceful lull. On the outer deck, someone finishes their drink and sets the empty tin cup beside them. They take a slow breath, savoring the crisp afternoon air. The warmth of the drink lingers in their chest, easing the tension that began building earlier in the day. At the far end of the vessel, 2 crew members stretch their arms and legs, loosening stiff joints after hours of manual work. Their movements are slow and unhurried. The simple act of stretching feels grounding, almost meditative, as if reconnecting their bodies to the steady rhythm of the sea. Another soft reminder: your mind is allowed to wander freely. You can rest in the quiet edges of these scenes, without needing to follow every detail. As the final moments of rest begin to fade, the crew rises one by one. They adjust their clothing, gather their tools, and prepare to return to their tasks. The break may have been brief, but it was enough to restore a quiet energy, enough to lighten their steps as the afternoon continues. And so, the ship leaves behind this gentle pocket of stillness, carrying with it the calm that settles over everyone who paused to breathe. The ocean stretches ahead, the air remains soft, and the steamship continues gliding forward, steady, untroubled, and quietly renewed. As the sunlight begins its slow descent, the steamship enters one of its most peaceful transitions of the day. The warmth of the afternoon starts to fade, replaced by a softer, cooler breeze that drifts gently across the deck. The colors of the sky shift into warm golds and pinks, stretching softly across the horizon. This is the hour when the crew prepares the ship for the coming night, moving with calm intention and quiet awareness. Before we continue, I'm still curious. Where are you listening from, and what time is it where you are? And if stories like these bring you peace or help you fall asleep, feel free to support this calm little channel with a like, a subscription, or a gentle comment. Your presence truly helps this space grow in a meaningful, steady way. Now imagine standing on the deck as the air cools. The evening light glows across the wooden planks, giving everything a warm, comforting tint. The ship feels different now, slower, more reflective, as though it knows the day is drawing to a close and is ready to welcome the softer hours ahead. Some crew members begin tightening the ropes along the railings, making sure everything remains secure for the night. Their movements are steady and deliberate. Each pull creates a soft creak as the rope adjusts, blending into the gentle soundscape of approaching evening. The ropes settle into place like quiet sighs. A soft reminder: if you feel your body relaxing even more, let it. The evening brings its own kind of calm, and you're welcome to drift with it. Near the center of the deck, a crew member checks the lanterns. He lifts each one gently, making sure the glass is clean and the wick trimmed. The lanterns will be lit soon, casting warm pools of golden light across the ship. For now, they hang quietly, waiting for their soft glow to guide the night. Farther down the deck, 2 crew members inspect the lifeboats again. They check the oars, ropes, and fastenings with the same calm diligence as earlier in the day. Evening inspections are not rushed. They are smooth, methodical movements meant to keep the ship safe as darkness settles. Another anchor for your awareness. Breathe slowly, letting the soft evening air in this story help your mind loosen and quiet down. Inside the corridor, the air feels cooler as the heat of the day fades. Crew members move through the narrow walkways with quieter steps than in the morning, as though respecting the natural dimming of light. Their shadows stretch and soften along the wooden walls, carried gently by the fading glow. On the upper deck, a crew member adjusts the rigging, listening for any unusual tension in the ropes. The sound of the rope shifting is soft, almost musical against the backdrop of the sea breeze. He makes a small adjustment and then steps back, satisfied with the subtle improvement. Near the bow, someone stands with one hand gently resting on the polished railing. He watches the horizon as the sun slowly sinks, painting waves with soft reflections. The scene is peaceful, untouched by urgency, just water, light, and the slow passage of time. Another gentle reminder: it's completely okay if your eyes grow heavier with each sentence. This hour on the ship is meant to cradle your attention, not demand it. Below deck, a faint clinking sound echoes as tools are stored away for the night. Engineers wipe their hands on cloths, finishing the last small checks before heading to their evening shift rhythm. The engine continues its steady hum through the floorboards, its pattern comforting and constant. Back on the deck, someone sweeps away the last bits of salt and dust carried by the afternoon wind. The broom creates a soft, steady whisper as it moves across the wood. The movement is unhurried, the sound soothing, like a gentle brush across a canvas. And as evening settles more deeply, the preparations continue with quiet grace. Every lantern checked, every rope secured, every surface gently tended. It all contributes to the peaceful transition from day to night aboard the steamship. As the sun dips even lower, the ship moves into a deeper state of calm. The sky becomes a gradient of gold, rose, and fading blue. The air cools further, brushing gently across the deck like a soft breath. Crew members continue their quiet preparations, aware that night is approaching but in no rush to meet it. This gentle transition feels almost sacred in its simplicity. A crew member kneels beside a wooden storage chest, testing the lock with a soft tug. Satisfied, he closes it and runs his fingertips along the grain, feeling the warmth the sun left behind. The wood is smooth, well cared for, and the gentle ritual of checking it brings a familiar sense of comfort. Nearby, someone begins lighting the lanterns one by one. The flame flickers softly at first, then steadies into a warm, glowing light. Each lantern casts a small circle of illumination across the deck, creating pockets of golden calm. The ship transforms slowly into a warm, floating village, guiding itself gently into the night. Another soft reminder for you: you're welcome to let this warm light soften your thoughts too. Let your breathing fall into an easy rhythm, like a candle flame swaying quietly. Along the railings, a crew member tightens the final knots. His movements are slow and confident. He tugs the rope twice, listens to the faint creak, then nods to himself. The rope settles into place with a quiet firmness, ready to hold strong through the night's steady winds. Inside the corridor, the lanterns cast long shadows across the wooden floor. The air feels different here, cooler, quieter, touched by the approaching night. Crew members walk through with slower steps, mindful of the dimming light. Their voices are low, respectful of the calm settling throughout the ship. On the upper deck, 2 crew members check the rigging one last time. They move with practiced ease, adjusting the lines and securing the knots. The ropes sway gently, responding to the soft evening breeze. When they finish, they take a moment to look out over the darkening horizon, appreciating the colors fading over the sea. Another gentle anchor. It's okay if your thoughts feel like they're floating away from a story. Let them drift, the way small waves drift under the fading light. At the bow, a crew member leans forward slightly, watching the sun sink behind the horizon. The last sliver of light glows warmly, reflecting across the water in delicate streaks. It is a quiet, grounding moment, one that reminds him of every evening spent at sea, each one unique in color but equally peaceful. Below deck, the engineers finish wiping down the tools and check the machinery one last time. They listen carefully, making sure the steady hum of the engine remains smooth. The warmth from the engine room contrasts with the cool air outside, creating a gentle balance within the ship. Near the stern, someone ties down a canvas covering to keep equipment dry overnight. The fabric rustles softly as it settles into place. The knots are simple but secure, enough to withstand the night breeze without resistance. The crew member pats the canvas once, confirming its position. Another reminder: if your eyes grow heavy, you don't need to resist it. This hour on the ship is meant to guide you closer to rest. As the final rays of sunlight disappear, The ship becomes a warm constellation of lanterns floating across the darkening sea. Every check, every adjustment, every gentle movement prepares the vessel for the calm night ahead. The crew steps back from their duties with a quiet sense of completion, knowing everything is ready. And so, the evening preparations come to a serene close. The steamship glides smoothly under a sky shifting toward twilight, its crew wrapped in the calm satisfaction of a day cared for with steady hands. The world grows dimmer, the air grows cooler, and the ship eases gracefully into the peaceful embrace of night. As darkness finally settles across the open sea, the steamship enters one of its calmest phases of the entire day. The lanterns on deck glow softly, casting warm circles of light onto the wooden planks, while the rest of the ship sinks into a deep, peaceful quiet. Night watch begins now, a time defined not by noise or urgency, but by steady footsteps, slow breaths, and thoughtful awareness. Before the story drifts deeper, I'm still curious. Where are you listening from tonight? And what time is it where you are right now? And if calm historical stories like this help you unwind or drift off to sleep, feel free to support this gentle channel with a like, a subscription, or a few kind words in the comments. Your presence truly keeps this small space steady. Now imagine stepping onto the deck under the night sky. The stars stretch in every direction, scattered across the darkness like tiny lanterns above the ship. The ocean reflects faint glimmers of their light, turning the water into a vast, shimmering canvas. The air is cool but comforting, brushing lightly against the skin with each passing breeze. Some crew members begin their watch with simple tasks. One checks the lanterns again, making sure each flame burns low and steady. The soft glow illuminates his hands as he works, revealing the calm expression on his face. These lanterns are more than light. They are quiet companions through the night, easing the long hours ahead. A gentle reminder for you, if your breathing slows here, let it. The ship, the night, and the story all welcome your stillness. At the bow, a crew member looks out across the dark horizon. His eyes move slowly, scanning for distant vessels or shifting shapes. But most nights, like this one, the sea remains calm, an endless stretch of quiet water shimmering under the starlight. The view brings a sense of peace that settles deep within the chest. Across the deck, another member of the watch moves with careful steps, listening closely to the faint creaks of the ship. He checks the ropes, the railings, and the wooden beams, all in gentle repetition. Each small task adds another layer of safety, another layer of calm, to the night's journey. Inside the corridor, the lanterns glow faintly against the wooden walls. Footsteps drift in and out of hearing, soft, unhurried, never startling. The corridor feels like a sheltered cocoon, carrying the soft warmth of the lanterns and the muted whispers of the ship's movement. Another anchor for your awareness. Let your thoughts drift like the lantern light shifting on the floor, slow and peaceful. Near the wheelhouse, the ship's officer stands quietly, hands resting lightly on the wheel. The navigation instruments reflect the soft glow of a nearby lantern. He listens not only to the sea, but to the subtle vibrations running through the ship, letting each sound guide his understanding of the night. Above, the stars continue their slow, ancient drift. Crew members who happen to glance upward often pause for a moment, not in or but in quiet appreciation. The night sky at sea is vast, unbroken, and deeply settling. It reminds them of their small place in a wide world, and there is comfort in that humility. Farther along the deck, someone checks the lifeboats once more. His hands move along the wooden edges, making sure everything remains secure. The task is simple, familiar, and reassuring. With every check completed, the night feels a little more peaceful. Back at the railing, a crew member leans forward slightly, watching the trails of white foam created by the ship's slow movement. The foam glows faintly under the lantern light before fading into the darkness behind the ship. It's a quiet reminder of motion, steady, smooth, untroubled. And as the steamship glides deeper into the night, the watch continues in calm coordination. These moments are not filled with dramatic events, but with quiet reflections and soft routines, creating a peaceful rhythm that carries the ship gently forward. As the night deepens, the steamship moves with a soft, almost invisible rhythm. The water stretches out like dark silk beneath the hull, catching only the faintest glimmers of starlight. The crew on watch continues their calm routines, each person settled into the stillness that only nighttime at sea can offer. It is a quiet that feels almost timeless, not eternal, but gently suspended, like a long exhale spread across the waves. Near the middle of the deck, a crew member pauses to listen closely to the hum of the engine below. The steady vibration rises through the planks, a warm reassurance that the machinery continues to function through the natural order the Almighty allows. He closes his eyes briefly, absorbing the familiar rhythm before continuing on his slow, steady path. Another crew member walks the length of the deck with lantern in hand. The light moves with him, shifting shadows across the wooden boards. His steps are measured, barely audible beneath the soft sound of water brushing against the hull. Every few moments, he stops to check the ropes or the railings, ensuring everything remains secure. The lantern glow gives the scene a gentle, floating warmth. A soft reminder for you, your breathing can fall into that same slow, steady rhythm. There is no hurry here. Let the story guide you deeper into ease. Near the stern, someone takes a seat on a wooden bench, allowing the cool night air to settle around him. He watches the sky and its countless stars, noticing how they shimmer steadily without changing pace. The sight brings a sense of grounding, a reminder of how small moments of stillness can feel deeply comforting. Inside the quiet corridor, the shadows deepen. Lanterns hang from their hooks, glowing like warm islands of light in the darkness. Crew members pass occasionally, their footsteps slow and quiet. The walls gently creak with the ship's motion, creating a soft lullaby that echoes faintly through the hall. Another gentle anchor. If your thoughts grow hazy, that is perfectly welcome. Let them drift like the ship drifting across calm waters. On the upper deck, the ship's officer takes another slow look across the horizon. The night is clear, the sea calm, and the stars unbroken. His hands rest lightly on the wheel, guiding the vessel with the kind of ease that comes only from long experience. His expression is peaceful, reflecting the serenity of the dark, open sea. Farther along, a crew member finishes checking the lifeboats. He runs his hand along the wooden frame one last time, confirming its readiness. Then he steps back, letting the warm lantern light soften the shadows around him. The quiet work gives him a sense of calm accomplishment. A cool breeze rolls across the deck, carrying faint scents of salt and sun-dried wood. It lifts the edges of the crew's clothing, brushes gently across their faces, and brings with it a soothing reminder that the ship continues on its path, steady and unhindered. The night air wraps itself peacefully around every step. Below, the engine hum continues like a deep, gentle heartbeat. It radiates warmth, and its consistent sound anchors the entire ship. Crew members moving nearby often pause to listen, letting the low rhythm settle into their minds like a soft background song. Another reminder, allow yourself to rest. Let your breath fall into harmony with the slow rise and fall of these nighttime scenes. At the bow, a crew member watches the white trail of foam created by the ship's slow forward movement. The foam glows faintly under the lantern light before dissolving into the darkness. It is a comforting sight, proof that the ship moves safely onward, one smooth moment at a time. And as the night stretches on, the steamship continues its journey through calm waters, guided by steady hands and quiet minds. The world around it falls deeper into silence, and the ship becomes a warm, glowing island moving gently through the vast, dark sea. Now, as this story reaches its resting place, take a slow breath and let the calm settle fully in your chest. Thank you for spending your time with this quiet journey across an early steamship. May the gentleness of these moments follow you into your sleep, bringing comfort, ease, and deep rest. Thank you for listening to this story, and may you have a peaceful night.